Good afternoon, it's Liam here with the England review for their 0-0 draw with Slovakia on Monday. I'm sorry this is coming out a little bit late. Obviously, my legions of followers are going to be really devastated, but I've only just woken up after that game because that game actually put me into a coma. It was that dull, that frustrating, and that England. That is one of the most England performances. Like, can we go one tournament without having a 0-0 draw? Like 2014 World Cup, 0-0 against Costa Rica after losing your first two games 2-1, whatever, don't care. 2012 at the Euros, goalless in the quarterfinals, getting stomped by Italy and then get beat on penalties again, whatever, don't care. 2010 World Cup, that 0-0 draw with Algeria, still the result that I consider the biggest the biggest flop of that tournament. Forget the 4-1 against Germany, that was a good Germany side. We wouldn't have had to play Germany if we'd beaten Algeria, but then again, I digress. My point being that England always have one game where they are just a complete bunch of limp dick wankers, and it's just so frustrating. That I'm pretty sure the E in ED stands for England after that, because to be honest, Daniel Sturridge, Harry Kane, Jamie Vardy, Wayne Rooney, Joe Hart, even on his day, Jack Wilshere, these are quality players. We have the equivalent of a rather large football penis, but we can't get it up, and we just can't get it up against a team like Slovakia, or even worse, a team like Russia back on match day one. We can't get it up to fuck the bitch who is spread and lubed up and ready to get boned, and we can't get it up with all that attacking talent, and it's so frustrating. Nathaniel Klein got the closest to scoring, and he just got completely unlucky. I don't know how that didn't go in. It hit the shoulder of the Slovakian goalkeeper. He didn't know much about it, and you could tell Nathaniel Klein was pissed off because he knows that 9 times out of 10 that goes in, and it was just not our day. But we just didn't create enough was the bottom line. And I feel like everyone's talking about why Roy Hodgson made as many changes as he did. And yes, there's a conversation to be had there, but I think the writing was on the wall. They said it before the game. They said Roy Hodgson has chosen to make 6 changes, which, to be fair, was really only 4 changes because of Sturridge and Vardy were the obvious choices to come in. Those are the changes that if he hadn't made, people would have been up in arms about. So he made 4 changes that people were upset about, changed the fullbacks and changed the central midfielders. And you knew before the game, if we win this game, people are going to praise Hodgson's squad rotation and the depth of England's squad. If we don't win the game, questions are going to be asked and everyone is going to slate Roy Hodgson. I'm somewhere in the middle. I don't disagree that some of those players probably should have been rested. I don't have any problem with him resting Kyle Walker, who probably covered, all of France in the first 2 games of the Euros. He was our best player, especially against Wales in the second game. A lot of stuff came down that right-hand side. Don't have a problem with him resting him, just because Nathaniel Klein is pretty much just as good as Kyle Walker. The only thing that Kyle Walker has that Nathaniel Klein doesn't is that physical presence and maybe slightly better crossing ability, but I think that's just because Kyle Walker's older than Nathaniel Klein. Give him 2 or 3 years, Klein will be a better player than Kyle Walker. No problem with him playing because he played well when he came in. Brian Bertrand, didn't play that well, but the thought was there to rest Danny Rose, and fair enough. I personally maybe would have just rested Walker, but I can understand, much like at Tottenham Hotspur where they rotated Walker and Rose for Trippier and Davis, and that worked to great effect all throughout the season. I can see where he was going for with that. I have no problem. I don't think that the changing of the fullbacks is why we didn't score today. I think the reason we didn't score today is because he dropped Wayne Rooney, and for the life of me, I can't imagine why you drop your captain for a game that is so important. Alright, yeah, we were pretty much through. We had 4 points. We knew that even if we lost to Slovakia, we would probably go through as one of the best third-place teams. But so what? Being top of the group was not secured, and obviously because we've ended up not topping the group, and now we're on the side of the draw that has Italy, Spain, Germany, France. The list is probably going to get more dangerous as the game goes on, as the days go by, and now we're probably going to have to. Hopefully, we won't play Portugal in the next round, but the way Portugal are playing, I could definitely see them finishing second in that group, if finishing in the top 3 at all. So but now and then we're probably going to have to play France in the quarterfinals, and it's just one of those things where you're looking at Roy Hodgson, you're thinking, right, you've been the England manager for 4 years, this is your 3rd major tournament, and you've not had a successful tournament yet. You could argue that, considering he came into the England setup, a month or two before the Euros, you could argue, okay, fair enough. The 2012 Euros were kind of written off, and the fact that we topped our group, which had France in it, don't forget. We topped our group and then, went out in the quarters to a decent Italy side who then went on to finish second in the tournament. That's not that bad, but finishing bottom of your World Cup group and then coming to these Euros knowing that you're playing against Wales, and then you're playing against Slovakia and Russia, two teams that do not look good at all. Russia have gone home bottom of the group, rightfully so. They were dreadful, and the fact that we didn't beat them is even more embarrassing now that they've gone and lost to Slovakia and then got stomped by Wales 3-0. That's what we should have done to them. We have the players to do that to them, and we didn't. And it's the same thing that happened today against Slovakia. Now, yeah, their goalkeeper played quite well. Yes, their defenders played quite well, but it was too easy for them. With the attacking talent that we have, it shouldn't be easy for anybody to stop us from scoring. And it was. It was just easy for them to keep us out, and that was all they wanted, a 0-0. They never once looked like they were going to score, and we still couldn't beat them. And it's just so frustrating because now like I said, we finished second to Wales, and it's a lot like what happened in the 2010 World Cup where we couldn't get a victory in the first two games, and because the USA got a 90th minute winner, they ended up topping the group on goals scored, not even on goal difference, on goals scored. And then we end up getting Germany in the next round and going out. If we had topped that group in 2010, I still stand by the fact that we would have had a good crack at making the semi-finals. We would have played Ghana in the next round, which I think we could have beaten, because it's very misconstrued the way that England played in that tournament. We were bad in the group stages, but that game against Germany, we played well. I don't care what the scoreline was. I know we lost 4-1. We played well. Everybody knows we should have gone in at half-time at 2-2, having been 2-0 down, and that would have been a completely different game. Obviously, the fact that we then had to go chase the game in the second half, which we didn't do the worst job of. We were just playing Germany. And then on the counter-attack, Thomas Muller gets 2 goals, and it looks like we got stomped, when really it was just an unlucky game. We've all seen the Lampard ghost goal that never was. We were unlucky in that game. If we'd been playing Ghana, we would have won that. I mean, there's no way of knowing. I know Ghana played well in that tournament. I know Ghana should have made the semi-finals as well. But we would have been on the side of the draw with Ghana. We would probably knocked them out, in my opinion. We would have then played Uruguay, and this is Uruguay before Luis Suarez was really Luis Suarez. Yes, he was a decent player, but he was not anywhere near the player he is now. It took him a solid 3 or 4 years. He hadn't even joined Liverpool at that point, I don't think. And so we could have very easily found ourselves in a semi-final against a Netherlands side that we maybe could have beaten with that kind of momentum. I know I'm talking about a different tournament now. I know I'm rambling, but my point stands that these tiny little mistakes, dropping 2 points against Russia in the 90th minute, not beating Slovakia to end up finishing second in the group instead of first, that can make or break your tournament. I'm not saying we have a chance of winning this tournament. I've never said we had a chance of winning it. I know people who are talking about England being dark horses. Not one of them should still be talking about us being dark horses after that group stage performance that we've put in. We got through by the skin of our teeth because of a 90th minute winner against Wales, really. That's ultimately what it came down to. If we hadn't won that game, we'd be going home right now. And now we're going to have to go and play. I mean, I'm hoping it's Group F that we're playing the second place team in. Group F is actually getting decided right now. I'm going to go watch the game after I'm finished with this. And Group F is a team. I'm not scared of anybody, not even Portugal, honestly. It would be our luck to have a Cristiano Ronaldo who has been terrible all throughout the Euros, and he has. Anyone who's watched him can tell you he's been terrible throughout this tournament. You just know if he goes into the knockout rounds against England, he'll score a hat-trick. You just know that would happen. So I do hope we avoid Portugal. I still hope we avoid Austria, even though they're bottom of their group. There is still a very good chance that they'll beat Iceland and go through, if not on top of the group, in second place, and that is a banana skin waiting to happen. And I know that I may be underestimating the Hungarians, who obviously beat Austria, and maybe will beat Portugal today as well and top the group, or the Icelandics, who have played with a lot of passion, a lot of heart, and were very unlucky not to get a win against Hungary. My point being, we are not out of this tournament in the next round guaranteed by any means. We're not through guaranteed, but we're definitely not coming up against a Germany. We're not coming up against a Spain who, completely screwed the pooch and ended up losing to Croatia. Now, they've been thrown on the side of the draw with us instead of going on to the side of the draw with Wales, Switzerland, Poland, and, the rest of the also-rans. So Wales will be jumping for joy. They know that they've got a great chance of getting through now. They're probably going to play Albania or Northern Ireland. Could you imagine that game in the second round? And they're probably going to win. They'd be favourites. And once they get to the quarterfinals on that side of the draw, who knows what could happen. For England, the focus has to be moving on and basically shaking off this small team mentality. We are England. Yes, we are a team who has consistently underachieved for 50 years, for 5 decades. We have had teams that are better than this one, that have flopped worse than this one has. But the point is, this tournament is not over, and no matter who we come up against, we have to believe that we can get a result. So, we're going to go up against one of the Group F teams. I'm hoping personally for Iceland or Hungary. Those are the two that I'd like, because those are the teams that I think we are better than in every department. Whereas Portugal and even Austria have players that are better than all of our players. Austria have David Alaba, better than every England player we've got right now. Portugal have Ronaldo, case closed. I know that they're not in form, but you know that they will turn it on the further they get in the tournament. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. But the point isn't about who we play. We can't. They were talking the other day about how it may be beneficial for certain teams to finish second in a group instead of finishing first. No team who aspires to finish second, even for the sake of playing an easier team in the next round, no team who aspires to finish second in their group and is okay with finishing second in their group will ever succeed at this level. We have to go into every game believing and feeling like we're going to win, and right now that confidence is not in the team. So I'm hoping that we get a favourable second round draw and that we put a few past whoever it is. I don't care if it's Portugal. That Portugal side is not better than we are. Not better than we are. They might be about the same. Obviously, Ronaldo takes their average up a bit higher, but they are not better than us. I believe that we can go into our next game, whether it's against Austria, Portugal, Iceland, or Hungary, and we can believe that we're the favourites. We can believe that we'll go not only win, but win comfortably. Now, will we do that? No. To be honest, I would not be surprised if we got drawn against Iceland and got beat 1-0. I really wouldn't. But we have to believe, and that's what it is. And it's not about us. It's not about the fans. The fans don't have to believe. And honestly, the fans shouldn't believe. We have no reason to believe. We've been given no reason to dream that England are going to do anything in this tournament. But we've still got but the players sure as shit better believe that they're going to win this tournament. I don't care if it's likely or not. I don't care if we're on the rougher side of the draw. I don't care if we have to play France in the quarterfinals. We've got to go into that game thinking, well, it's going to be a real shame that your tournament's going to end in the quarterfinals as the host nation. Unlucky France. Now, do I really believe we're going to beat France? Hell no. But do we even know that France are going to make the quarters? Yeah, they've topped their group, but they topped the easiest group in the tournament, in my opinion. Maybe second easiest. Albania, Romania, Switzerland, they topped that group. And they've got players that are just they're one of the only teams in the tournament where I look and think, are any of the England squad getting in that team? The only players who I think maybe would get into the France team, maybe Wayne Rooney, but probably not, honestly, because he doesn't play up front anymore, and he's definitely not better than any of France's midfielders. And maybe Harry Kane, Jamie Vardy, Daniel Sturridge, one of them is definitely better than Olivier Giroud. But that's about it. We could go up against a team in the quarters. Now, obviously, I'm assuming that we're going to get through. No, by no means am I assuming that we're going to get through our second round. But let's go in with some confidence. Let's take it to them. And if we go and play a Hungary side, that are spirited and have a good team ethic, and we beat them 4-0. I would believe that we could then go on and take that momentum against anybody in the tournament. Now, we're on the rougher side of the draw, but this is the time of the tournament where if you want to do anything, you're going to have to beat good teams. You can't hope for an easy ride through. Obviously, we could have given ourselves a lot of an easier ride by finishing top of the group, but even then, we probably would come up against a side like Belgium in the quarterfinals, who are no easier to beat than France. Belgium are just as good, if not better than France. If this tournament was being held in Belgium, they would be the favourites. The only thing that makes France the favourites for me is that we're in France. And, with players like Dimitri Payet and that, who are just unbelievable compared to anybody that England has put out, in the last 10 years probably. So, all is not lost. We have gone through, which is something, okay? Yes, we should go through. Going out would have been abject failure, and finishing third would have been pretty dire. Obviously we would have ended up going and playing a team like Germany in the next round. But the point is, we are still alive in this tournament, and we have to just put the group stages behind us now, because once you're in knockout round football, anything can happen. Greece, 12 years ago, knocked out France, knocked out the Czech Republic, and then beat the hosts Portugal in Lisbon in the final. If Greece can beat Portugal in Lisbon in the Euro 2004 final, we can beat France in Paris in the Euro 2016 quarterfinal. We have to get there first. France have to get there first. I am by no means assuming anybody is getting through. All I know is that this tournament is heating up, and we're still around, and that's all that counts right now. We've just got to stay alive, keep our head above water, and hope for the best. Now, the game itself, like I said, we were bereft of ideas. Wilshere looked extremely off the pace, and as much as I wanted to believe in Hodgson's decision to pick Wilshere, because he is our most creative midfield, our most talented midfield player. You know, when he is fully fit, he's not fully fit. I know he's not injured anymore, but he's not got match fitness. He didn't play enough this season, and for that reason, he should have taken Danny Drinkwater, or he should have taken Mark Noble even. He shouldn't have taken Jack Wilshere, just like he didn't take Luke Shaw, because Luke Shaw was not fit. Obviously, Luke Shaw was a bit further back in his recovery, and obviously we have much more cover at left back than we do in central midfield. But the fact that not only has he taken Wilshere to the tournament, he's then chosen to start him over our captain Wayne Rooney and Dele Alli. That's just poor management, and Roy needs to go after this tournament if we end up doing what it looks like we're going to do, which is fizzling out in the quarterfinals once again. Now, obviously, we might not even get that far, and if we don't get that far, he's done. You know, he's getting sacked. Quarterfinals, let's get there, and let's put in some good performances on the way, and let's just hope for the best going forward. My man of the match today, it's difficult to pick one, because obviously, you know, no one scored, no one managed to really do anything when they were on the pitch. And obviously at the other end, you can't really give it to a defender, because keeping a clean sheet against Slovakia is like keeping a clean sheet against the, you know, Brighton under fives. Like, it was not difficult to keep them out in that game. So, I mean, I suppose I'll give my clean sheet to maybe Jordan Henderson. He did play well. He was one of the changes that I could have seen resting Dele Alli and having Henderson and Rooney. That would have been more, or you know, that would have been okay, because Henderson did play well. Wilshere was really the one who disappointed. Nathaniel Klein did play well coming in, you know, coming in for his first start of the tournament. But I struggle to give the man of the match to anybody in this game, so I'm not officially going to give it to anybody. I'm sure the England squad will be devastated. But anyway, I appreciate you watching the video. You know, like it if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. I just want you to be engaged on the video. Let me know that you watched it and had some sort of opinion about it. And if you have an opinion that you want to elaborate on more, chuck it in the comments. I will reply. I'm happy to have a conversation with anybody about this stuff, obviously, because I talk to my computer about it. So thanks for watching, and hopefully this time next week we'll be in the quarterfinals after a decent performance against whoever we've played in the last 16. So thanks very much.